live there and live on Facebook. Yes. Welcome back to The Change Physician. I am Melissa Katie, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. We're here on abnormal day. Usually it's Saturday, but Sunday salutations.
That's right.
To say hello to our followers, and of course to have an opportunity for Kevin and I to catch up and share with the world what we've, as far as podcasts or episodes that were released. How are you doing, Kevin?
I am well. How are you, Melissa? I know you're older.
I know.
Another year working on the next one, which is exciting.
Post-birthday celebration or post-birthday, recovery day.
You need to recover from your
I had a few adult beverages, a little bit more than I normally would have, but not bad. It was spread over like 6 hours or something like that. Had a wonderful time with some friends, mainly a lot of our neighbors, which is, you realize that it is really nice to get to know your neighbors and hang out, because if you want to enjoy like an adult beverage, nobody has to drive.
Mhm.
And you're just within walking distance, and it's perfect. So you realize this is like the best of everything. People that you can trust if you need some neighborly help, and just get to know people beyond just their car showing up at their garage and them getting in and hiding and never see them again. So the only people we really met on the fly were people that own dogs, because
they're walking
their dogs.
Yeah.
Cat owners, not so much. They're not usually.
You don't have any cat owners with a basket? Have you seen those? I've actually seen one person who was walking a cat with a leash, but every once in a while you see them and there's these cats in these like these wagons, like all strapped in, there's like a net over them or whatever, and they're walking around.
Yeah.
So we had our neighbor when we were growing up, they had a cat and they would take them hiking. Like, again, it's different, like a different age, kids used to run around and now kids don't run around. But they would take we were hiking up at Tahoe and they would bring their cat. And I don't remember it being on a leash. I do remember it complaining, it just getting mad. Like it was just getting tired. But yeah, it's just funny. Like, and then our cats were always outdoors and whatever. So,
well, speaking of which, I just got a notification on my, watch here that our neighbor's cat is visiting our back door.
Wait, how does it know that?
I have a little Ring camera.
Oh, okay.
So they give me a flash image of the video that it records, and it shows our neighbor's cat visiting. So the moment we started talking about it, there you go.
Maybe we need to bring him on as a guest, or her as a guest on the show.
Well, that would be good. Although it's not really one that wants to be petted all the time. I realized that today he kind of swiped at me when I tried to pet his head. So I don't think it's really an affectionate, or it's like our cat doesn't like to really be pet on the head much. Maybe it finds it threatening.
Maybe just doesn't know you. He doesn't trust you. You're kind of untrustworthy.
He's here like every day, and Tom the cat. He's a big fan of coming to visit, especially likes to watch me work outside. So we've gotten to know each other a little bit, but he's, I think, 19 years old or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very impressive abilities, but I think he's hard of hearing. His vision isn't totally gone, but he won't hear me coming up behind him.
Oh.
So it's amazing. He's able to like avoid critters and stuff, but anywho, let's make sure we don't forget to share what's happened in the past week here. We had an episode between the two of us about the more you know you don't know. That was our focus, which sounds very confusing. But I think it's true. As we get older, speaking of Tom the cat, as we get older, sometimes, you've kind of gone into topics that you just realize it's just, you can't ever know everything. And you just become more informed that if you really seek, and there's a lot of ways we talked about this topic, but many times, you you get older and you realize how much you don't know.
And there's I can't remember if we use this quote or not.
There's another quote.
As our island of knowledge grows, so does the shore of our ignorance. And that was kind of the whole point of that, is as you learn more, you realize there's so much more that you don't know because that you were not aware of, and that's like, has all those important implications, or particularly in this day and age where they have rapidly changing information and people making opinions based on social media and things. That, yeah, I don't know. The people say, well, the experts are changing their opinion on it. It's because knowledge changes, science changes. And if you don't know that, then you think people are flip-flopping versus actually let's look at the data.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah. We research because we don't know everything.
Yes.
And research doesn't mean we've suddenly discovered everything. It means the evolving of knowledge continues. The other episode we had released this past Thursday was Kate Othis, who is the CEO of Health Professionals Alliance, also known as HPA. She also was the founder, and she is the president of Data DX, which is actually a type of service within Health Professionals Alliance that's available to professionals that can become different levels of, I guess you can call it membership, based on what resources they need help with. And Kate, I found through a mutual friend who has become involved with this HPA, and what they're doing, I feel, is really important, especially because it's hard to find independent physicians with a lot of the consolidations and acquisitions and other things that are going on, which will be hint some future episodes that we'll share coming up in this next week. We actually go deeper with Kate on other topics that you'll just have to wait till they release and you can go listen to those. But any thoughts on Kate?
Yeah, I think it's a good episode. In particular, if you're a specialist physician who is either in an independent practice or would like to pursue that venue. We talk about kind of that the model that they have currently is pretty well set up for that, to provide sort of the business acumen, and it kind of scales on exactly what you need. But it provides you a different option, which we talk about in the episode, versus having to sell to a health system or private equity group, or how to compete if your competitors are been swallowed by the big 800-pound gorillas. And they're doing good work. And she had hit some of the magic words in there that I found very appreciative. So yeah, I think it's a good episode if you're looking and you're like, hey, I'm kind of worried about what the environment is like, and I'm predominantly a specialist physician at this particular time, but ways to kind of maintain your independence, but giving yourself a much bigger footprint than you would normally have.
Yeah, and it's 80%, I think they said, physician owned.
Yeah,
the way that they're having it structured.
Yeah.
So
the members owned. Yeah, they're
right. Yeah, so it could be like, cool. Yeah, it could be like an a la carte kind of service thing to support an independent physician, or it could be kind of all in, basically supported in every way. So there's a lot of different opportunities there. But she's just very, I think she has a great business acumen, understanding of kind of what the medical landscape is like. So go ahead and check out that episode. And if you like what we talk about there, definitely check out the next 2 episodes that we follow through with our deeper discussions. So let's see, anything exciting other than I just
favorite things.
48.
I even brought a favorite thing specifically out for this. I had a couple things that I'm ready for this week. So go number one is this. This is Petit, which is boxed. It's a boxed wine.
Oh.
This is my favorite everyday wine.
What?
And we walked into the store on Sunday and I'm like, holy crap, that's Petit, and it is in a box. I'm so excited. So we bought it. And now there's boxed wine. Well, really good box wine is actually better than a bottle. This is 2 750, so it's 1.5 liters of wine. And the advantage of it is when you open one of these, it basically maintains the seal. So you're not ever oxidizing the wine, and so it stays for a long time. It can stay, they say, up to 6 weeks. I'm not actually sure if it probably can do a little longer than that because there's such little oxygen contact with anything. But it's not going to last 6 weeks. As you can see, I'm holding it with one hand, so it's definitely not as full as it used to be. But it's nice because you can set it up and put it on the thing and it's good. Like, I just love that wine. And I really like that winery. They make some fun stuff. So I was very excited about that.
Is that? What kind of wine is that?
It's predominantly Petite Syrah. So okay. Yeah, I'm a big chewy meat. I like full-bodied, fruity, strong-boned wines. And so my favorite varieties are Petite Syrah, Petite Syrah, whatever the wine may be. But I really like that. And I also like Zins. But what I was actually, I learned this just not too long ago is a Zin by itself I don't particularly like, but a Zin that then it has some structure that's provided by Petite Syrah I really like. So I just love Petite Syrah. And if you're in Australia, that'd be Shiraz. But it's just a great wine. I mean, it's like if you can get it at Costco for like $15 a bottle. This box, because it was from a grocery store, for 2 bottles was about the same, but I really liked it simply because of the fact that it's in the box. And as I said, once you take the wine out, it stays a lot longer. So you can literally just set this in your kitchen and have a glass. Wow. And we rarely finish a bottle of wine now. Part of that is we're both lightweights. My wife and I are lightweights. And the other part is, like you mentioned with your birthday party, is after, if I drink more than 2 glasses, I just don't like that. It doesn't make for, I don't feel good. And I am not young and I don't like that. And it's just not worth it anymore.
No.
So I like wine. And so it's nice to have this kind of setup. So that was my big exciting thing that made me happy this week. One of the big exciting things that made me happy this week.
Very nice. So I'm curious because I haven't really dug into the details and the truths behind this, but what if there is a red or a sweet, maybe like a rosé or a red wine, and you open it and you put it, well, of course there's the different rules on putting in the fridge and stuff. But once you open a bottle, like this whole, like really what happens if you say oxidizing, but is it really bad to consume it? Or is it just
no, it changed the taste. And sometimes it's a benefit. So if you have a wine that's meant to be aged, you're going to want to not artificially, but you're going to oxidize it. That's why decanting is all about exposing the wine to oxygen. If it's a wine that's more of an everyday, not meant to be a long time, then you're not going to want to expose it a lot of oxygen. And the biggest problem though, is if you don't finish the bottle. So, some of them, if they have some significant structure, you can leave them. People will do this. They'll actually take a glass and then they'll wait the next day and they'll kind of taste it, how it evolves over time. But it just alters the flavor profile. Eventually, at some point, it will turn into vinegar if it's been there long enough. So kind of the tricks around it is what we've done is we actually have half bottles. So if we have a full bottle, we can usually finish half a bottle of wine. Then we pour it into a new half bottle with a screw top. And that's essentially, now you have a new bottle of wine, right? Because now it's sealed and there's minimum oxygen. So gotcha. And we'll put that even in the refrigerator.
Less dead space.
And if you don't do that and you put wine in the refrigerator, it actually kind of slows down that process somehow. But then you're going to want to take it out and like let it warm up a little bit, because if it's too cold, then it changes the flavor profile. But the long and short of it, you just don't want to do what my mom used to do. She'll love me saying this, is I get these bottles of wine like when I grew up, and she would just put the cork in and stick it in the cupboard until the next party, whether that party was 2 months or 2 years down the line. It was like, wow. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. And it just cracks me up.
Well, so, I guess you didn't harm your friends that came back for the next party.
Well, I'm like, oh my God, what are people thinking if they drank this wine? Because I grew up thinking, man, wine sucks. Because if you're little and you're sneaking a thing, it was gross, super gross.
Yeah.
But, you don't want to do that. At least for your standard wines. Some of them, like your tawny ports, can handle that, and anything that's already been pre-oxidized. So a lot of the fortified dessert wines, they can stand up to that. So like if you just want to like a sweet, something sweet, sort of desserty,
which is pretty much all of ours.
Yeah, just get a tawny port, and that'll last for a long time. Or a Madeira, which is another fortified wine that's already been like put to the, it's been like oxidized and heated, and you can't hurt those, and you can drink those forever, basically, as long in the bottle.
So tawny port, you can keep it unrefrigerated?
Yeah, you can break the seal, drink it, and then you can continue to drink it over time. Now, how long? Some people will say more a long left, but we've done it for a long time, and they're generally okay, because they're fortified, and most of them handle, they don't have a lot of oxidation to go.
So what does fortified mean when you say wine?
They put alcohol in it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so like a port or any of these fortified wines have the base wine, and then they have an additional liquor that's put into it that kind of stops
the flavorings, the special flavorings.
Yeah, but it kills the yeast and does something else. But particularly the tawnies, you can just open and drink. We used to do that a long time ago. Just have like a bottle of tawny for like a little dessert. But we're not. We just don't drink as many sweet wines anymore.
Yeah, the tawnies tend to be very strong.
Well, yeah, they're all fortified.
Ones that
so it's
I've
not like
seen.
they're gonna guzzle it, and then has got sugar, so that they're sweet. But they're tasty, and they're nice to have. It's like if you don't drink a lot, you kind of figure out, well, okay, how am I going to do this? Because if I want to have a drink, you don't want to do something that you break a seal on a bottle or whatever it is that you're drinking. So that's, you either have to drink it fast or whatever. Right. So the tricks are, well, you can do cocktails, you can do tawny port, you can split your bottles and put it into a screw top half bottle. You can buy a beautiful box wine, which makes me so happy seeing it just makes me so happy.
Hey, if we visit you, we're gonna have to try that.
Oh yeah. Oh, we'll have some better ones probably. Well, depending on if you like wine or not, because we actually we just started buying some more wine this year, and now I'm like, oh man, we got a lot of bottles downstairs that are good wine, but we can't, we don't drink the whole bottle, so then you have to do the whole game with all this stuff. But anyway, I like wine. I think it's I don't know anything compared to like the true wine connoisseurs who are just like over the top. I'm way on the bottom. Like they're probably saying, oh, you're wrong about that, Dr. Cuccaro, and you didn't do this, and you didn't talk about what they're fortified with, and blah blah blah. But I know enough to make me happy.
Well, if you're at the bottom of the totem pole, then I'm underground. So I'm barely just, I just happen to like certain flavors, and they tend to be sweet, and I tend to be late harvest, and
sweet wine. Yeah,
I'm a sweet wine kind of girl. But in the right meal, something that's a little drier or not, sweet, I do probably fine. Just not something I grab as a treat usually.
I call that like wine, based on my experiences, like wine evolution. Mm-hmm. So the very first wines that I loved were the sweet wines, mm-hmm. like late harvest Rieslings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then that progressed into whites, mm-hmm. and like white wines. And then as your palate develops, there's a flip. Like then I started really liking the reds.
Then you go to the Roscato.
Moscato. Moscato and in your rosés and stuff. Yeah. But now I am like, I don't like white wines very much. I'm like big chewy reds, not super tannic.
Why would you call it chewy?
Because they're like, they fill your mouth, and they actually have this body that actually has the substance. Like it feels like a big, I don't know, like a big chewy red wine versus something that kind of just slithers down your throat like some, like, I don't know, like some slicky water kind of thing. I want something that's like there, yum.
I've never heard chewy before, but to each his own.
Yeah, you gotta have some chewy wines, man.
I'm gonna have to figure out a chewy wine to try, but well, cool. I guess I introduced a friend of a friend to a Messina Hoff Angel Riesling, which is super sweet, super strong, and they liked it. So that's my contribution to some favorite things. But anyway, well, why don't you take us out?
Sure. Well, thank you all for joining us today on Sunday Salutations. Next week, it'll be another special Saturday Salutations. Maybe a little lonely, but people will be there in spirit for sure. And as always, if you're interested in joining the conversation live, you can catch this if you're hearing this later as a recording on Saturdays, usually between 10 or 12 p.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Central Time, at The Change Physician at facebook.com. And if you want to join the at facebook.com, is it facebook.com? I don't even know about that one. Whatever Facebook is. It is facebook.com. Okay. Yeah. At The Change Physician. Otherwise, you have to get on the email list at thechangephysician.com. And we'll talk to you later.
Adios.